Why was Ham? This the thick eyed bandit repping the motherfucking crew. You are now listening to the motherfucking podcast.
Because the word motherfucker is a noun. It describes a person, place, or thing. Wakanda forever!
We're live on a weird night. Guys, this is not a great night. Welcome to episode 3. I'm your host, the Thick Eyed Bandit Pudge. I'm alongside, via phone call with Mr. Headquarters. Mr. Headquarters is out on a volunteer mission. He's out with the recovery team with Hurricane Laura. Came through Category 4, winds of 148 miles an hour, gusts, 158 miles an hour, violent storm came through, Category 5, came through and hit Lake Charles, Louisiana, Cameron, Louisiana, and also the Southeast Texas border. Towns were also affected. It was a very nasty storm. So, Mr. Headquarters, how's everything out there?
Everything out here is going pretty much what the news has said. A lot of devastation, a lot of damage to property, and people displaced, evacuated. The Lake Charles area in Louisiana. Up to six people dead from the storm. So it's just not a great time. But we down here trying to help out as best we can. We had people came down and helped us in New Orleans. So now it's our turn to get back and help out.
That's an awesome thing you're doing, and you have the full support of us here at the motherfucking podcast. All of the victims of those who lost their life. You have our support. Shout out to those volunteers as well, who's braving some real bad conditions out there, out in Southwest Louisiana. So our thoughts and prayers go out to y'all. Also, breaking news. We have breaking news, guys. This is a sad time. 2020 is a rough one for everyone. And
fuck 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. But
except for the motherfucking pod, by the way.
Yeah, we got some people out there who's actually doing some great things out there. They know who they are. But right now, actor Chadwick Boseman has died via colon cancer. He was 43 years old. Wakanda forever. But that is horrible. That means this man has gone through some of the worst pain in his life. And also still acted and still, stayed true to his obligations, man. That is a tough animal right there, Mr. Headquarters.
He was clutch, man. He didn't. It was a decision. He didn't disclose his diagnosis 4 years ago. That's his. I know people probably are mad about that, but fuck with their feelings. It was all about him anyway. It's sad to hear, sad to see. He was blowing up like crazy. He was James Brown. He was Jackie Robinson. Among other roles, he was Black Panther. He was big to the black community. I ain't gonna lie.
Absolutely.
That's a huge blow.
Class act.
First Kobe, now him.
Man, two strong alphas. Two strong alphas.
But we're not gonna. We did do a show this week. We did a Zoom call this week with the fellas, with the motherfucking crew. We was actually going to be talking about another tough topic already, this coming into this week, so it's already making it even tougher podcast this week. Talking about social justice, injustice, a lack thereof of justice in the social system. They had issues. There was a shooting out in Lafayette, Louisiana. There was a shooting in Wisconsin. And brothers lost their lives to the police, and it's never a great thing to hear. Despite what may have happened in Lafayette, especially in Wisconsin, we already know about that one. That one was all the way fucked up and wrong. But it's a heavy time right now.
Usually when we do this show, we always want to look at life and joke about certain things, and because we're a relief, to kind of kick off the week from want to go to work in a ha mood, but at the same time we're not human. We do understand what's going on in the world, and sometimes you just have to, you want to talk about certain things, and you want to make sure that you provide answers, and if not answers, you want to see how can we have the discussion and have a discussion and have a solution on how we can make things in our community better, so that way these things don't happen. It won't continue to happen. It's never good when someone loses their life. Never good.
Yeah, I mean, me and Pudge started this podcast. Me, Pudge, and Selly started this podcast. We wanted to help people get away from the problems of everyday life. This is also a getaway for us from everyday life in some ways. It's hard to talk about this, but we will do this shit together. This is the fucking motherfucking podcast, so we are a motherfucking family. If you're listening out there, we all family together, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to get through this shit. Whether it's a hurricane, whether it's, a famous death of, from our community, if it's social injustice, we're going to get through all this shit, but we're going to do it together.
Absolutely. And the good thing about being together and showing solidarity is you want to make sure that your presence in your community is there, because we also represent our community. We started this thing because, we wanted to provide an opportunity for those who are like us, who wants to provide an opportunity to promote the good things about our community.
Right.
The talent that's in our community. The leadership that's in our community. So that way the narrative of our community changes. Because the narrative of our community is crime, drugs, violence.
Yep.
Single parent homes. Poverty. Fathers either dead, in jail, or different. We're not gonna go there. But we have an issue in a narrative that the only way that you can be successful is through entertainment or sports.
That's true.
We're more than that. And our community, we want to make sure that we provide a message to where whatever the narrative is, we want to make sure that we're better than that. And this is a prime example of that. This show right here is dedicated to people who can put their minds together and achieve anything that they want, as long as they believe and work behind that. Is that correct, Mr. Headquarters?
Absolutely. Not just black people. I mean, we are black. but black and brown people, especially. We talking about all our brown brothers that's with us too.
We got a lot of Spanish friends.
Yeah, Indian friends, Spanish friends,
Arab friends.
Shout out to our Chamorro friends out there in Guam.
Whoa,
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, you know, they have a whole lot of hardships as well, but you know, that's for a later show. But shout out to Guam and our Chamorro brothers and sisters.
Hey, you know what? You know who else is cool? You know who else is real cool? Have you, well, and I know you have. You told me the best place that you've ever been was in the West Indies. What island specific were you talking about?
I've been down to the Virgin Islands. That's all. I mean, that's home. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of our brothers and sisters are down there, but they aren't citizens of the U.S. as they should be, even though they are a part of the what do you call it?
Their territory.
Right. They're a U.S. territory, but you know they aren't U.S. citizens per se. So shout out to them. You know, that's a beautiful place.
It's a
beautiful place down there in the Virgin Islands, particularly on St. Thomas Island is where I visited last.
Man, I gotta get down to the islands. I haven't been that way. I don't know why. I don't know it's taking me so long to get down there. I need to get down there. But on the real though, getting back to the meat and potatoes, what we were talking about, it's never good when someone loses their life.
No.
You know, so 2020 has been a rough one for everybody, man. And on top of that, we have an active hurricane season down here.
Yep. We just got hit by 2 hurricanes in 3 days.
Well, I don't know about the first one. The first one was...
Well,
it was
a tropical storm and a hurricane.
Ish.
But still, it brought a lot of rain and wind that we did not need right now.
No, not the first one. The first one, Marco, I don't know what the hell his problem was. He was tripping.
Marco did affect Louisiana. It just didn't affect us in New Orleans.
Marco was like...
it was like a brisk... It was like Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron James' ear.
LeBron James?
Damn, man. That's some bullshit. LeBron James.
Gotta find a way to put LeBron in the show. Shout out to LeBron.
I think we did that every show so far. I gotta check the archives.
But nah, I mean, all seriousness though, I mean, the guys, all 5 of us got together this past Wednesday. We sat down, we got a Zoom call in, and we were able to talk about social injustice in regards to things going on, you know, not just lately, but just in this past 4 years. But primarily talking about the Lafayette, Louisiana situation, shooting, and the Wisconsin shooting that took place these past 2 weeks or a week ago.
Yeah, it hasn't been long.
Yeah, they both happen a day from each other. So it's heavy hearts in our community, man.
And the thing that I don't understand is that not only that, you know, you have a kid, 17 years old, Kyle Rittenhour. I mean, dude.
Man, fuck him.
Stay home, man. No, you stay home. None of this happened.
Homegrown terrorists, by the way.
Man,
let's not forget that.
Stay home, dog. What you doing? You ain't got no business. You 17.
Meanwhile, the brother in Wisconsin, Jacob Blake, was breaking up an altercation and ended up, you know, getting into it with the police as they showed up to help intervene and ended up hacking this brother up for whatever reason. We don't know. But we saw the aftermath. Him getting shot in the back, not once, but 7 times in front of his children after trying to break up a fight.
Yeah, that was rough, man. That was
So,
rough.
and I don't give a shit about his, people try to bring up, oh, he had a criminal past, so what? So what? We have plenty of people out there in the world that has criminal past and has done great afterwards. This man was trying to do something good.
Absolutely. Anytime you're able to break up a fight, especially women, that's the worst fights to ever try to break up. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if anybody lived in the hood or whatever. I had 2 females scrapping. Man, you ain't jumping in that. You ain't trying to. Because if you do, you know you getting fucked up.
You getting clawed up?
You getting fucked all the way up. Your bitch ass is getting the fuck beat out of you. Not by one crazy bitch, but by 2 crazy bitches. And I don't mean to say that with no ladies, no
we don't mean that in a
disrespect.
derogatory
Nah,
way at all. Yeah.
nah, we don't mean that. But listen, what I'm saying is this: when females fight, that is a hard thing to try to defend or to try to break up. So commend him jumping in there, one, because I know he probably got beat up. One.
Yeah, he probably caught a slap or 2.
That was rough. That was like breaking up 2 lionesses fighting over a gazelle. That's horrible. They go to war. But we merely speculating. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We weren't there.
We touched on this. Yeah, we touched on this. Like I said, we touched on this Wednesday on the Zoom call. Y'all about to hear that conversation. That's the show primarily. We just wanted to make sure that we touched on this because this is important to us. This is part of our culture. And we have to fight for our culture to keep it and preserve it. And by doing so, we have to keep our people alive.
Too many of us are dying, regardless of a man's background. For any Christian folk that's listening, even if you're not Christian, I'm just saying, feel me on this one. If you value anything, you will know that biblically speaking, any great man that was in the Bible, whoever was anybody in the Bible, at one point in time did something so horrible. And then God would pick that person and turn around and make that person great. Clean that person's act up. And that person will lead other people to do right. So who was to say that regardless of whoever's past? Because if I can remember correctly, I remember a very powerful someone saying, he that has no sin cast the first stone, which means all of us are quick to judge somebody, but ain't nobody perfect because everybody got a past. So if you judging people based upon their past, guess what's going to happen? Calamity in all shapes and forms. And guess what we're starting to see? We're starting to see people getting scared because of someone's past. And now, ultimately, it's fear that's leading to these type of events that's happening. It's fear.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I mean, we kind of talk about some solutions in that. I mean, in my opinion, I think we need to have some kind of retraining of the police force completely, the overhaul of the entire U.S. police force, in my opinion. Maybe rubber bullets in situations where you have people that are unarmed. I think that would be more appropriate. I mean, they already use that shit on the spot. Why they can't do that on the regular police force, I don't know. But something's got to change. We demand change.
Yeah, we don't subscribe to any more killings. We don't subscribe. We don't subscribe to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with that being said, we're gonna bring in this show. Sorry, it's not as much, funny stuff that you're used to hearing us. But this conversation needed to be had.
Yeah, we as a people, man, we're angry, we're hurt, we're sad, we're depressed. We're losing people at an alarming rate. That's never good, you know, because the more and more we kill each other, not us, but the more and more that we're being killed. And also, and you know what? And also, I'm gonna put it out there too. Whatever, and whatever's going on in our community with it. But ultimately, the killing of the black man must stop. We know why we're upset right now. We know why we're angry right now. But the killing of the black man must stop. And also, the shooting of black men must stop.
Period.
These are kings. These are fathers. These are brothers, uncles. But most importantly, we're cutting off lineages here. Bloodlines stop. That's no coming back from that. So, we want to make sure that we understand, like Mr. Headquarters said, we understand that the tone is somber. We're just in so much pain right now. And we're gonna talk this one through. Guess what? This is group therapy. We may be wrong. Who knows? Who cares? But guess what? This is what we believe. This is our opinion. And guess what? This show is about our opinion.
Opinion.
If you don't care for our opinion, then change the channel. This is our opinion. And every story that you heard so far, and every story that you're going to hear so far, is going to be talked about from our point of view. So guess what? This is the motherfucking podcast. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm. If you like it, I hope you stick around. If you don't, thanks for showing up this one time. Holla.
And with that being said, welcome to episode 3 of the motherfucking podcast.
Pasquale.
What's up, boy?
What's down with you, young fella? No basketball tonight, killer.
Yeah, I saw that.
No basketball.
Might not be no more basketball for the rest of the season.
It may not be. To be honest with you, it may not be. It may not be, bro. They worrying about this damn revenue. Them dudes, like, they serious. They rolling with LeBron, bro. They rolling with Brian. At the end of the day, they're not playing that.
Yeah,
I respect that. I respect that. I'm listening. You said?
I said it was the Lakers and the Clippers.
Yeah, I know. Shit, Kenny the Jet Smith boy walked off that bitch, bro.
Yeah, I saw on the inside.
Yeah, but you couldn't see. I mean, you couldn't see where he was crying, huh? Yeah, no, he had tears, his glass through his glasses. I saw him coming on his face. They was coming on his face, bro. At some point you have a breaking point. That breaking point is, enough is enough, man. I mean, how many of us have to die?
Yeah, a lot of people don't see it that way, but you need to start opening their eyes.
Man, no, they see it that way. They choose not to see it that way. It's a difference. Because they know. They know that they just killing people. They're just killing people.
Let me ask y'all, so how y'all felt about the differences between the Lafayette and Wisconsin incident? They had the one in Lafayette, and then they had the one in Wisconsin.
Give me a detail on the Lafayette. How that one went
down. Did you hear about it, EJ?
I heard about it, but the one that speaks volume now is the Wisconsin one.
Yeah,
well, I know that, but I know they was like a day apart from each other when it happened. That's what I was asking.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it was a day apart.
You've been protesting out there in Lafayette too. But what happened was there was a guy who may or may not have mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
He had a knife at a gas station in Lafayette.
Okay.
Police responded to a guy, reports, brandishing a knife. Police chased him. He ran. He fled from the police. They met up with him at another gas station. They tased him. It was like he tried to walk off, kind of similar, just like the thing in Wisconsin, except he was trying to walk into the gas station at that time. And that's when the several police shot him 11 times.
That's indeed.
So, I mean, I know it was a little bit different circumstances compared to the Wisconsin thing. The guy was actually trying to pick up an argument between two females. This situation is a little bit different. I mean, this guy actually, I don't know what was the issue, why he was there or what he was doing. I didn't get all that information. But, I mean, the use of force on somebody when you have a gun versus a knife or a gun versus an unarmed person. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's just not meant to be the way it is. I mean, I feel like you just can't go around just killing whoever the hell you want just because they're not compliant with your thing.
Yep. Yep. As I know of, you are trained. You are trained to handle these hostile situations. So is that part of the training? Oh yeah. If it's hostile, you just kill them. You got all other places you can shoot these people. You can shoot people in the leg. You can shoot these people somewhere where it won't have them motherfucking down. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? If it's that hostile. But so far these killings that we've been seeing, it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's no reason that they should be dying. That's what I'm seeing.
I think the use of rubber bullets would be a better tactic.
Oh my Jesus, hands down. Rubber bullets.
Here's the thing about all of it. What about the fear? You know what I'm saying? The fear that people go through at the time. I don't know if anybody had a gun pulled on them, but I have. I don't know if anybody who's been arrested multiple times or even, hacked up or whatever the case may be. There's a thing that go on with people when they get, when you get hacked by the police. And I'm not saying that all police are like that, because not all police are like that. Ill-trained professionals or so-called professionals is who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem is this: the fear that someone may go through. I know that there's times where, in these situations where these gentlemen were tased, and going through the tasing process, I don't know if it was fear or if it was adrenaline that kept both of those guys, moving. So I feel so bad for Jordan Blake. 7 times in the back. Paralyzed from the waist down.
Mm-hmm.
Went to break up a fight in front of your kids. Another one on social media another. Thank God it was on cell phone. Because that's the biggest thing. It's not that it's not a new thing in our community, because it's not a new thing in our community. It's just that not everybody's getting a chance to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the biggest part.
That is the part, is that people are starting to see it. These are not new stories to us, unfortunately, and it's sad to say. We shouldn't have to say that. We shouldn't have to say this new story. This is new news. But even with the guy in Lafayette, regardless of all of the details, no one deserves to die. But that there's going to be a counter argument to that.
Oh yeah, the other side gonna be like, oh, he deserved to die.
It's going to be a counter argument. He was resisting arrest. Whether it was the cowards in Minneapolis. It's coming sick. It's really sick. To whereas now, the people who, we say that we can trust, if something happens, the people who say that they're here to protect us, when it's time to do so, it hasn't been for us.
Yeah, I mean, we so much a part of the society of, the police society is kind of like how they look at it when you're working with somebody, right? You're supposed to obey. What about when that person that you're supposed to be supposedly obeying, as they like to look, I hate that word, but how they look at it is that you're supposed to just do what they say, no matter what they say. And that's when you get people that abuse their power. You know what I'm saying? We have to deal with people that's in that position, abusing their power and their will on people. And
guns make that.
Well, I mean, power creates that. And they feel power behind that gun.
No, guns make that. Look at a kid, that 17-year-old kid from Illinois, Kyle, whatever his last name is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're fucking talking about. A dumbass, a straight dumbass.
So you
drive. Filling the blame for the audience, man.
Okay, so the 17-year-old kid. Now we're talking about Jordan Blake, and we're talking about some of the things that are going on right now, and we're gonna open up the world into the discussion of us. We are all African Americans here. We're all black men here. All have come from impoverished neighborhoods. We've all come from low-income neighborhoods. We have all had run-ins and encounters with police, whether it be wanted or unwanted. We have all been placed in situations that a lot of people have never been placed in before. I know I have. But this kid, on the tail end of the Jordan Blake shooting, yes, there's protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin that were going on. This kid,
his name is Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you for the look up, Tito. So this kid drives across state lines with an AR-15, goes to the protests, I guess, or whatever the case may be, with his gun visible, incites not him, but there's some rhetoric that's going back and forth. And I guess the kid's hit with a skateboard or whatever the case may be. And he let off shots.
Hold up. No, the guy hit him with a skateboard after.
I'm sorry. All right. After. Yeah. After the rhetoric, the shots went off, then was hit afterwards. That guy wound up getting shot. One got shot in the chest.
One got shot in the head, one got shot in the chest.
One got shot in the arm.
One got shot in the arm. Yep.
And I think the guy who was shot in the head, he passed. I believe
the guy
the
in the
one who
chest
was shot in the chest passed away too. And I think the guy who got hit in the arm, lose his arm, but he will make it.
Yeah. You get hit by AR-15.
Yeah.
You ain't, them limbs, they ain't coming back.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
So the kid isn't even old enough to enter into certain establishments.
Mm-hmm.
But carrying a high-powered rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, let me ask you a question. And I'm not saying anything negative to high-powered rifle owners, because guess what? I have some stuff of my own. But what I'm saying is this. There's no way that I'm getting caught walking around with my stuff on me, even in the open carry state, because I know how I will be viewed. I know how uneasy it'll make everybody. And I know what kind of attention I'm going to draw and who's going to come and check me out. That's a privilege that I don't have.
Brother, they said that he passed by the police.
He had a conversation with him.
He had a conversation with the police. I'm like, how is that possible? This kid, a 17-year-old kid, okay, passes y'all with an assault rifle. Come on, man. At some point in life, you got to think, you know what? This may not be a good idea. Hey, look, brother,
he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
But as far as for the police not to even think and be like, you know what? I think you about to do something stupid. You might want to go home, brother. You might want to go home. This ain't the night. You might want to go home. Just like that.
That's premeditated.
What happened afterwards?
He killed two people.
He walked past
what really happened afterwards? He got picked up.
He made it to where he had to go to.
Yeah, they gave him water and everything. After he done murdered two people.
Yep.
Like he put his hands up, walked directly to him. Like, job well done.
Just like the kid in South Carolina who killed all those church folks. They took him to Burger King.
They took him to Burger King.
I'm not saying his name. I'm not acknowledging his name.
Yes. Not at all. I didn't even want to even acknowledge this dude's name because he's a coward.
Right. But then there's a situation where, a George Floyd gets killed over alleged counterfeit $20 bill, which turned out to be a real $20 bill.
A real $20 bill.
That's the issue that I have. And I'm not pushing the hate rhetoric. But what I'm pushing is, at some point in time, this got to stop. This has to stop. Too many lives are being lost. Too many accidents are happening in such a short span, brother. The year 2020 is by far the worst year on the planet that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. That I've physically lived in. I didn't live through the civil rights movement, the physical civil rights movement. My family did it. My mother did it. My aunts did it. My uncle, my dad. Y'all family did it. This right here, I can imagine this is what it probably felt like. Now that you're starting to see, protesting, that you're starting to see displays of solidarity from athletes, entertainers. There's a lot of people drawing awareness, to this social injustice cause. Fellas, let me kick y'all a question. What has to stop? Or what has to start in order for our community in the police to have an opportunity to have a conversation so that way they can understand what we're going through? And I'm not saying to cry on our shoulder, not like that. No, I'm talking about fixing the issue. How do we fix the training? What do we do?
To me, that has to start from the president.
Yeah.
Has to really nip down on law enforcement and say, you know what? Because I don't know if you guys heard, small things, even in California, there was a cop that exposed that there's a gang inside the police force in Los Angeles.
Sean
I could
King.
imagine
They got fucking tattoos. They have tattoos.
Right. Yeah, so it's something that the president would have to enforce and say, you know what, for these crimes law enforcement are committing, you will be made an example out of. You will face justice, and you will pay for your crime. And then I think the people would also feel that they're appreciated because, at least there's a voice for the people. You're there, you work for the people, you enforce the law, you're not above the law. You work for taxpayers, so.
Right. But you can't be afraid either. A lot of it, I think, comes from fear. But I pose y'all that question. I appreciate that.
That's based off the portrayal of the black people in general in the media. I mean, that's just period.
There's a control.
There's an agenda. I mean, a lot of times, when you see people on TV that look like us, they normally have us portrayed in a shitty way. As thieves, robbers, murderers, and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the truth. And a lot of times, if you're talking about trying to fix the situation with how the police and the tactics and shit like that, you got to kind of, I think it's more of an internal thing. I mean, you can ask the president to say something, but I think we got to actually go straight to the heart of where the issue is, and it's more of a culture thing within the police department itself.
I think it's an understanding that has to be met. Being in the neighborhood, understanding the people, talking to the people, learning the people,
I think they need to start giving back to the neighborhoods that they actually supposed to be policing. I think that's what the police department is supposed to be about anyway. Because a lot of times it's not about preventing a crime. Because that's not what the police was meant to do anyway. It's called.
The police was meant to keep slaves home.
I'm not talking about the original root of what they actually were there to do. I'm talking about over time what they were supposed to be doing up until at 2020. What their job is supposed to be is to serve and protect. To
serve, you are absolutely right.
To deter crime, not prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, fellas, we have breaking news right now.
What's that?
NBA players. The NBA schedules a Thursday Board of Governors meeting about the status of the season.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about before you came on. We were saying that the players are pretty much saying, the Lakers and Clippers are already saying that they're not playing. Period. And I'm fine with that.
After them cancel the game.
Yeah. LeBron said, fuck that game. He said, fuck it. He done. He's tired, bro. It's a difference when you are advocate for, for the NBA, for black people, period. You, Chris Paul, you got some really Kenny the Jet Smith. Like I said,
shout out to me
personally, bro. That was probably one of the bravest things I've ever seen a young man. I mean, a guy do. Period. Like you literally just walked off of your job, to stand with the players who believe in something. And don't get me wrong. I mean, much respect to Shaq, much respect to Charles, and much respect to the other man too, the other guy that was there too as well. But EJ, man, I'm like, man, like, dude, they wanted to, but I know everybody wanted to. Everybody just wanted to leave, but they didn't know how to handle that pressure. Enough was enough for my boy Kenny. Kenny been talking about this since day one. You got to realize his kids getting older. I mean, it's just a lot going on in this dude's household, man.
Look at us. Look at us.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the greatest. I mean, amazing people. Amazing people. Look at where we come from. We created the first university ever was in Lafayette. Home and mother Africa. Algebra. mathematics. The Moors went into Europe. They taught irrigation. They taught Zuriab, the great Moor, taught the 3-meal concept. Starting to eat with salad, so that way the lettuce and the enzymes can break down your meal. Learn how to bury your dead, cook with fire. So those are things that, just a small touch of what we brought to society. Just a touch. A great people, if you learn us. But then also, on the flip side, niggas ain't going to be having that for too much longer. Because enough is enough. So what happens then? A race war is incited? What happens then? We can't do that. One, niggas ain't organized enough to do it. That's one. Number two, brother, it can't never come to that because
I don't know about all that.
Now listen, it can't never ever come to that because
you remember Stonewall, Georgia.
I feel you, but watch this. Listen, hear me out. We don't have jets, Benny.
No, we don't. We don't. But hold on, no. You laughing and shit. But last time places have been torn down much bigger with way far less. So let's not act like that cannot happen. Just
I'm not saying that it can't.
No. I'm just setting the record.
I'm not saying that it can't.
Don't get it twisted. Just because they have all these other things like that. No.
Listen. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this. There's a difference in the revolution by blood, and there's a difference in the revolution by brains. Combat the situation. As angry as we are, as much as
pick your battles.
Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, you got to pick your battles. Yeah, that's a whole different topic, though.
Right. So what I'm saying is, in order for us to create change and to create an ideal system where we can work with the system is never the system. You have to create your own. Things will never get better unless two things happen. First, you have to establish a line of communication, period. If it don't work, if talking and communication don't work, stick to yourself, create your own. I'll be over here, y'all be over there. We don't need to, because obviously doing this ain't working.
Well, when you say go and create your own, what are we talking about? Creating our own what?
All right, so watch this. Create your own everything.
Everything. I know what you're talking about.
Create everything on your own. Okay, watch this. Native Americans, and this is just an idea. Just follow me on this one. This is an opinion, an idea. Native Americans have been granted X amount of land for the slaughter and mistreatment of their race according to their testament being here. Correct? So the federal government has given them reservations and also their own municipalities so they can do whatever in the hell they want on their land. If you go to jail on their land, you're stuck. Can't nobody go get you. You're held to their standard, right? You have your own currency. You have your own flow of currency. You have your own businesses. You have your own hospitals. You have your own networks. You have your own affluent society. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1923. It sounds like Black Wall Street.
I give you something even better. 19 families. Let me give you something a little better. 19 families. Now, see what you were talking about creating your own? 19 families purchased over 90 acres of land in GA to create a city safe for Black people.
In Georgia.
Yeah.
And fucking Georgia.
I'm all about that.
And fucking Georgia. So, when you know, that's when you know you done had enough. That's when you know. When you
have your own compound.
These people got their shit together. These 19 people got their shit together.
Let me tell you something, though. Terry, let me, and I know they got their stuff together, but let me tell you something. 19 people is not better than Black Wall Street, 1923, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I
It was
got
the
you.
richest
I
collection
got you. But guess
of
what? It's a
black
start.
money
That's a
to the
start.
date in
That's
America.
a start.
It is a start.
That's
It
all
is a
I'm saying. That's a start.
There's
You know?
there's several well-off black communities
That's just one.
throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
Prince George County, Maryland.
So there is versions of Black Wall Street going on today.
To this day.
Most of them are in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I mean by creating our own, think about this. The whole flow of this podcast is about creating on our own.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
There's nothing negative. There's nothing negative to saying that we're a collection of black people.
Like-minded people.
There's nothing negative saying that, like-minded people can't create on their own and try to create There's nothing wrong with saying that. If I want to pull my buddies together and say, hey, we want to go ahead and play 5-on-5 against the next 5-on-5 against the next, what's the difference between saying I want to put my buddies together and go make money? What's the difference between I want to go ahead and learn arms training and defend my family with my buddies, and all of my buddies are properly armed and we know how to defend our families? What's wrong with saying that, hey, what if my 5 buddies, we grab some acreage and we learn to grow crops and we learn to feed our own selves and we learn to live off our own land, free of chemicals and pesticides that are causing cancer and other bad effects and ill effects on our bodies? What's wrong with opening learning systems and educational programs that teaches us those things that are not framed inside of the walls of the educational system and structure and religious organizations and structure that we have currently right now that's in place? Why don't we teach the books that are there, but no one wants to talk about it? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with that at all. EJ, what you got to add?
I keep on harking back to what Doc Rivers said in that interview, and it just resonated with me throughout my whole body. How can you love a country that does not love you back? That's he hit it right there on the head. How can you love a country that does not even love you back? How can we sit here and call ourselves American when they don't even treat us like Americans? It's getting to a point to where not only they're trying to resonate fear, it's getting to a point where my wife, who you all know as First Lady, and I'm going to just leave her at that, she gets on my case a lot of times for good reasons. Make sure my bills is paid, make sure everything is straight. I told Pudge this one day. My wife and I have been driving to work. She literally will try to tell me, well, come with me, just ride with me to make sure that I make it home. She literally told me in the car, I'm just making sure you got all your stuff straight because I don't want to give these police any type of ammunition.
None.
Where they got to do you something. I am scared for you. I don't want to give these police any type of ammunition. Oh, you didn't have your tag. You didn't have your driver's license. You don't have your insurance to where they're going to do you something. You're not protecting and serving. You're instilling fear. LeBron James even said, you don't know how hard we got it. You got kids. You literally, every time they grow up, you have to have that conversations. This is what you do to make it home. This is what you have to do to make it home. But the problem is, how can we tell people we need to be changed when there are certain people in the world that does not care? They don't care.
They don't.
That's the issue. For a man to shoot a man in the back 7 times while his back was turned, you can say it's bad. You can say it's bad training. You can say whatever you want out the blue. But the fact of the matter is, you shoot a man in the back 7 times, you knew what you was doing. Absolutely. And you don't care.
Absolutely.
When you put a man's knee on his neck and you know this man is not breathing, you don't care.
Absolutely.
That's the main issue. They don't care. They see your blackness as a weapon. That's the weapon that you have on you. That's the weapon that you have on you. And you can say, well, I ain't got no gun, I ain't got no knife. You got your blackness. That's all you need.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, EJ. And we know what systemic racism is. We know what, unfortunately, being young men, and we'll take it back to the West Bank. Y'all knew on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
it was the hottest days of the week.
Police was out there. They made a song about it. But also, especially right after Katrina, y'all knew. White T-shirts, dreadlocks, dog tinted windows, rims, sound of your car. Harry Lee, y'all remember? Harry Lee said, if y'all look like this and y'all cars look like this, I'm pulling y'all over. Everybody, y'all remember.
Yeah, just like when I lived in Arizona, and I got to meet him quite a few times, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and he was definitely racial profiling, especially with the Latin community. You look Hispanic, you look anywhere near Hispanic, he was going to pull you over. They'll pull you over without cause, without a reason. And when I sat with this guy, because I was working at a financial institution, you can just feel and see the hate in this guy. His wife was lovely. She was a sweetheart. But you can tell that this guy really, like for instance, he sat with me. I can tell he didn't like me. He didn't even know me. He didn't even ask for my name or anything. He didn't even tell me thank you. So, just like EJ was saying, it's, number one, they don't care, but they really do hate you. You know what I'm saying? So,
let me ask y'all this. If our communities were in better condition, and I'm just asking a question, because a lot of it is perception. In their opinion, perception is reality. Would y'all say that? Would y'all say if somebody who had a bunch of tattoos, gold teeth in their mouth, whatever, or however you want to stereotype it, however you want to look at it, would y'all call that person a threat? We won't, because that's how we look. That's how we grew up. That's what we wear. That's what our friends wore. It's normal to us, but to other people, it's threatening. Our communities, if you look at our communities, if our communities were where a lot of the issues are going on in the hood, if the hood was in better shape, if we had, cleaner areas, if we had safer areas, more educated areas, or if the opportunity for prosperity was a little bit more obtainable. Would police us in that manner, or are they policing us in that manner because of what our surroundings are like?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that as far as like neighborhoods, because I would have to see it. You know me, I'm the type of person I would have to see it to believe. If the neighborhoods were in better condition, if the neighborhoods were upkept, I would have to see it. But as far as what you
see it now. Watch, you see it now. Here's what I'm saying. You roll through an affluent neighborhood in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You roll through an affluent neighborhood in Homer, or in Phoenix, Miami, New York, Chicago, LA. You're not 1A. You're not gonna be allowed in certain neighborhoods. But in more affluent neighborhoods, you don't the treatment is totally different than when you go to a Westwego, a Gretna, a Algiers, a Tri-9 Square, a Back of Manhattan.
To piggyback off what you said about perception,
a Marrero Project,
Kennedy Heights.
To piggyback what you said off of perception.
Yeah, you see police all up and through that.
To piggyback what you said off perception, I would say this: there was another story that came out that basically the lady said she had three sons.
Mm-hmm.
She had two white sons and one adopted black son. She literally said, out of her sons, my black son will be the most likely to get in trouble. That's basically what she said.
Mm-hmm.
That was her perception of her own son that she adopted. She said, my black son will most likely be the one getting in trouble. Yeah. That's what you call perception. That's what her perception of it is. So I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, what about your other kids? They're known to create mass murder as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
So why it's got to be just a black son that's going to get arrested over than your other two sons? Because of the system that's in place.
The system that is in place, yeah. But and guess what? That's how she sees it. She sees it that way because she knows that he's gonna get they're gonna mess with him more than anything.
He's gonna get the blunt of punishment. He's gonna get the blunt of punishment that this system has in place.
That system has in place. So her job is to let him know and inform him. Remember, I understand that you are part of this family, but at the end of the day, those police officers are going to treat you different than what they're going to treat my biological sons. So you have to keep that in mind. So you try to play the game. You try to play it the best way you can without putting yourself in harm's way. And that part I understand. That if she's explaining it to him like that, because most black people, when they do get adopted by the white folks get adopted by black people. Either one of them, they explain these things to these kids. You are different. You are different from what even though I see you the same, they gonna see you different. And most likely that mama probably explained it to him and let him know. She wasn't probably saying it off the way of,
not trying to be mean or rude,
yeah,
but
wasn't trying
just,
to be a dick about it, but she was just
damn.
It's reality.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Right.
It really is. It really is. But I'm hoping that that she was on the I would say the good side of explaining it versus the bad side of, oh yeah, he gonna get picked on more than my sons. I'm more sure that she was going into a detail of, yeah, he will get profiled versus my sons because he's black. And that's basically what it is. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that was the conversation.
guys, that was episode 3 of the motherfucking podcast. Man, that was a crazy, crazy show. I know the tone was a little bit different, but we are all, Mr. Headquarters, we are all striving for one thing, and that's peace and positivity. And the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the conversation so that way we can understand each other, we can have a point of understanding. Because I think if people understand how another person feels, then the bridge of communication can be so much more, and that can go towards helping our society moving forward.
Right. I'm just doing my part, like I said early on, in the show, it's so ironic. It's 15 years ago that Hurricane Rita ripped through this area of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Not to mention Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans just 7 days prior to that. Everybody knows about Katrina because Katrina is the most well known and the most catastrophic of them all, especially to New Orleans where we from. But right now it's about Lake Charles right now because even though they're not part of New Orleans, they still are brothers and sisters out there, out there in Lake Charles. And we gotta look out for them too. We gotta look out for everybody. So
absolutely.
With that being said, we had this show and we hope y'all enjoyed it. And it wasn't like a previous episodes. Even the hurricane episode we did on episode 2 was sort of similar in a way, but this was way more just more informational, I guess, in a way. And our thoughts and opinions on it. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this podcast this time around, episode 3. It's been a rough week for us. We've been doing our thing behind the scenes, but we'll shed more light on that in time. But me and Pudge,
Hey, Mr. Pudge, I like it. Mr. Thick-Eyed Bandit, Mr. Special Feature, Mr. Pudge. Yes, I like it.
Being the Thick-Eyed Bandit, you know what I'm saying? We've been doing our thing behind the scenes, and everybody on this team, on the crew.
Absolutely.
It goes down to Sully, EJ, and Tito. So,
shout out to them grown men, man. They muscling with us.
To the crew.
The crew.
The motherfucking crew. You know what I'm saying? And we do this for y'all, man. We do this. This is more therapy for us because we crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But
we have problems.
But
I know
we got mental issues sometimes.
I know I got problems. I do have problems. I admit it.
People that know us. You know what we're talking about. But in seriousness, we want to do something to help people out, and this is kind of part of that. So this is us giving back to y'all. So we also talk about as always, I always in the show talking about the hustle mindset. This is part of the hustle mindset in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to lend a hand when you need it, even when you got things going on in your own life. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to be that extra shoulder that somebody might not be strong enough to hold themselves up, and you might be their clutch to help them get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody helped us, so now we got to help somebody else. It's just how it is.
And you know what? Reciprocity is amazing. Biblically, do unto others as you shall have done unto you. If you do good by others, then good will return. If you do bad by others, then obviously, recourse will happen. I just think that and especially nowadays, more than ever, even if it's just a word, sometimes just talking and being able to talk and get certain things off your mind, off your chest. Everybody need an outlet. Think about it. If a car is driving, if it never had an exhaust, that car would blow up because it has nowhere to put out all of the bad carbon and all of the emissions. If you trap that, what happens? As like if you breathe in and you don't release, you suffocate. If you cannot let the old air oxygen out or the old carbon dioxide out, you then suffocate on, but anyway, saying that to say this is therapy. Hopefully someone is being helped by this. Hopefully people would look at it and say, you know what? Let me try to communicate with someone opposite my race and try to get to understand. And if by all means, if that person is not understanding, but by all means, it's okay. You don't have to understand. I'm just happy that you had an opportunity to listen. So now I know which way to go. Then there are those who want to listen and want to learn. Cool. I'll tell you. Let me know how you feel. I've had those conversations with people.
Let us know how you feel about everything. Let us know in the comments. When we post the episode.
Episode 3 is in the books. Guys, go to our social medias. Mr. Headquarters, shout them out.
Right. You can check out all our sort of social medias, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on Linktree. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/the MF'N Pod. Check us out.
Just like Mr. Headquarters said, that's Linktree /the MF'N Pod. That is Linktree, linktr.ee/the MF'N Pod. Make sure when y'all visit us on our social media, make sure that y'all comment, just like Mr. Headquarters said below, because y'all feedback is vital to our show. By the way, we're not as somber, but Episode 4 is coming. It's coming. So I'm hearing some things from the guys. They got some ideas, man. They got some hot fire, man. So I'm like, all right, Mr. Headquarters, what's episode 4, man? I'm hearing some heat from the fellas. Hey, you got to give me a little insight, man, so I can kind of,
I don't mean to do this to the audience now, but if y'all want to check out what's going on for episode 4, moving forward, you're gonna have to check out the social medias for little teasers that I'm gonna have up there. Y'all gonna see them. So follow us. Make sure y'all follow us. Remember that Linktree, linktr.ee/the MF'N Pod. Check us out on our social medias. We got y'all. Trust me. We ain't gonna fuck with y'all.
We
You know what I'm
don't.
saying? Yeah. Holler at us. That's it for this. That's it for this episode. You got any other words? You got any other words to God Bandit?
Man, I seen that shit coming.
You didn't see that shit. All right, man. We out. It's the motherfucking pie.
Yeah.